With me today in the studio is America's lawyer, Mike Papantonio. It's great to have you with us, Pap. How you doing?
Good to be here.
It's great having you. Thank you. And you're going to be here with us for the hour, so we're going to kind of co-host the show here today.
Thanks for the invitation.
It's always fun, always fun. So there's a lot of stuff that we can cover today, and a lot of stuff that over the 3 hours of the program I want to get into. From these 5 cranky billionaires who are messing with the world to what's going on with the minimum wage, Scott Walker's in trouble again. Actually, it's getting worse. I got some amazing news for you about the polar vortex. We'll be getting all that stuff as we go on through the show through the next couple of hours. Be careful of processed foods, but as an attorney, sir, you know the law. You know federal lawyers. You know federal judges.
It is my day job.
Yeah, there you go. and my understanding is that President Obama has had some 90 some odd. That there are 90 some odd federal openings.
96, yeah.
96 federal openings, and that even though they pulled the nuclear option. Harry Reid pulled the nuclear option on appointments. Does that apply to judges or not? I think it
does. As a matter of fact, that was the whole purpose. If you remember, it all started in D.C. where they couldn't move anything in D.C. and they said, "Well, okay, well then we're going to pull the nuclear option." I think when they knew that, I think you were talking about it, I was talking about it, is that's just the beginning, right? And that's bearing itself out. The filibuster was only one part of the problem. What you have in the Beltway, Tom, I call them the good old boy rules, and that is that it's not congressional mandate. It's nothing that is written in the law that says this is a statutory requirement. But what they've done is they've built around any kind of appointments. They've built all of these ways out for somebody. For example. Reid said, well, this is going to move things. And I think in his heart he thought it might. But what has happened now is the Republicans are using all these other avenues of obstruction. One very clear avenue, don't show up to vote.
Really?
Yes. You know,
you deny a quorum.
Deny a quorum. You'll have 18 people that show for the example of the Judiciary Committee. Nobody shows up. No vote takes place. And unfortunately, there's been no attempt. If you think about a quorum rule in most settings,
let's first, not everybody doesn't know what the word quorum means.
Well, a majority. In other words, you got to have enough people there to count hands to vote. And if they fail to show up, they don't have that necessary majority.
Well, it's legally in many circumstances, and I believe it's the case with these committees, you can't even hold the vote unless you have a quorum. You have to have a majority of the members present for the vote to have any legal standing.
But also, when you think about it, Tom, if you move outside the Beltway and you have a quorum requirement, and it's clear that it's bad faith, there's some avenue that you can take for that bad faith that does supersede that quorum limitation. They haven't done that. They need to. The second thing is you had Leahy that has, for some reason, allowed these senators to use this thing called a blue slip. And a blue slip is when a senator says, I really want this guy to be a senator, to be a judge. They have the right, the rest of the committee has the right to say, well, I'm not going to put my blue slip in and approve it. And therefore, if they don't do that, if they take no action at all, then nothing happens. Let me tell you the outside example of that. Marco Rubio, for example, down in Florida, he actually went as far as making a recommendation of a specific judge, Thomas Williams. And all of a sudden, now he's saying, yeah, I did make the recommendation, but I'm not going to let him move ahead. The story behind the story, Tom, is it's about voting. That's really what this is about. If you have appointments made in the judiciary, and they're made by a Democratic president, then they're afraid that even though this may have been somebody I liked, that judge is more apt to support the Department of Justice or the presidential policy on things like voting. Now,
so you're talking about things like the Voting Rights Act,
exactly,
or things like voter suppression laws,
or any attempt
that judges could overturn.
Yes, or any attempt to make voting easier in this country. There's no other explanation for it. The Marco Rubio story is just one of an example of about 19. And that is where even the state senator who says, yeah, this is my guy. He's a Democrat. I can go along with his politics. I'm going to go forward with him. But they're holding even those votes up. And it's very clear to me. I think it's not just me. It's not just my observation. I think other people are looking at this and saying, why? And it is because 2014, they have everything riding on it, and they don't want clear access to the polls. And they realize there's going to be federal judges. If they fill, for example, 32 judges right now, 32 judges out of the 96 have already been cleared. Some of them cleared unanimously in committee. Some of them have, the absolute support of Republicans and Democrats.
These are judges who, if they'd been appointed by a Republican president, by George Bush,
would
be judges right now.
For sure. And you look at the history, and that's exactly what it bears out. So this is an important moment for the Republicans. They seem to be shameless about the idea that they're acting like children because they have a plan, and they do not want these federal vacancies filled. There's another part of it I guess we can talk about later.
What's that?
Well, the other part is
we still have 3 minutes here.
If you look at the appointments that have been made by Obama, they're not exactly thrilling. Mm-hmm. If I were to analyze the appointments, I say where even Obama's appointments coming from? They're coming from corporate silk stocking lawyers.
Right.
They're coming from places like Covington Burling. They're coming from Williams and Connolly, the Byrd law firm. These are people that make their living, their $2,000 an hour salaries for working on a case for a corporation.
Right.
They have no kinship with consumers. They certainly have no kinship with labor. They have no kinship. They might on social issues, but where it comes to really important issues, they're awful judges.
Now, the line that I had heard about that, or I've been hearing for 5 years here in this town, is that President Obama has been, or this administration has been nominating judges who are more or less corporatists up to this point, because those were the only judges, but they were Democrat corporatists. Those were the only judges that they figured that the Republicans would allow through. And that now that Harry Reid has blown up the nuclear option, and that they might be able to get through any person that they appoint. I mean, I don't know if there's a left-wing equivalent of Robert Bork out there or not, but that he's gonna start getting more progressive in his appointments.
It's not looking like that.
Okay,
I can tell you, it's not looking like that. A friend of mine, Howard Nations, a great lawyer from Texas, had the opportunity to meet with Obama about this, and he said, "What is this about? Why are these corporatist lawyers moving in and taking positions in the federal judiciary that changes the rights of consumers? Why are you doing that?" And I think the best I could make of it is his response was, Michelle, my wife, is a corporate lawyer. Do you really believe that she's going to favor one side or another simply because she was a corporate lawyer? Well, the quick answer is obvious. If what you do all day long is you're the servant to a corporation, you come into the business doing that, you make your living doing that, and then you get your appointment doing that, it's very unlikely that you can change in the midst of the stream and say, yeah, I understand the consumer's position. It's just all how we're brought up. Mm. And these people are brought up in silk stockings working for huge law firms that have no kinship with most of America, except maybe on social issues. Some of these Democratic choices by Obama have been good on social issues, but where it comes to money issues that feed your family, they have been awful. Some 80-90% of the decisions favor corporations in the Supreme Court.
Right. So once again, we get back to this issue of the federal judiciary, the fact that we now live in a constitutional monarchy.
Well, we do, don't we?
It's amazing. Okay, Mike Papantonio, attorney and host of Ring of Fire Radio, is with us for the hour, and we will be taking your calls. We'll pop around a whole bunch of topics here, 15 minutes past the hour.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
And, of course, you can check out America's attorney, Mike Papantonio. You can check out his website at ringoffireradio.com.